Ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Breaking Bells. What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Breaking Bells. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by Mr. Lloyd DASME. Like, what exactly does DASME mean? Explain this to me.
Well, back in the day, BBSs, so before the internet, I ran my own bulletin board system, and I was called, it's embarrassing now, but I was Zeus, because for some reason I was reading a book and that's what it was. So I did Zeus.
Okay.
And then it turned out there was another dude in the town that went by Zeus, and he was just a total jerk. So people were getting mad at me because they're like, "Oh, I hate you. You did something." And I'm like, "No, that's not me. That's not me." So I ended up just signing all of my posts and everything just me, because it's like, "Hey, I'm not Zeus anymore. Zeus is a jerk." And then it was like, I go to another bulletin board and I couldn't be me. And then you go on the internet and you can't be me. Yeah. So I was like, DASME, which is like DASME. And I don't even know why I did it. I did it so long ago and it's stuck ever since. Yeah. It's embarrassing, but that's what it is.
Makes sense, man. It makes sense. It's a story. You have a story to explain the name, and that's all that matters, man. You know what I mean?
That's what it is.
Because every time I try to find you, I look up Lloyd, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not Lloyd. And I gotta go, what is it again? I start scrolling. I go, oh, okay, that's it. So, for those who don't know Lloyd, what is it? Res TV is where you're located at, right?
Yeah, and Res.TV.
Res.TV, and he has Nintendo Pulse podcast along with the new Animal Crossing podcast you guys started up, Crossing Animals, correct? Is that the name?
Correct. Yeah.
See, I sometimes I take notes and I'm on top of this stuff. You know, occasionally I have to take notes. But
right.
Lloyd, let people know like what you do, where you are, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so I've been a Nintendo podcaster since 2006. I started podcasting in 2005 for the PSP. Brought up a Nintendo show back in the day of the DS called DS Life. And when the DS wasn't the thing anymore, we had to come up with another name. We changed DS Life to Nintendo Pulse, and we've been doing that ever since. And then just out of the blue, we were chatting with some Discord users, and they're like, "Hey, could you create us just a private chat room so we can get together and chat with our Animal Crossing friends?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll set that up." And so I was setting it up, and I'm like, "What am I going to call it? I'm not going to call it Animal Crossing in case I create a channel called Animal Crossing." So I was like, "I'm going to call it Crossing Animals," and did all this stuff. And then like 5 minutes after, I'm like, that would be a really good podcast name. And it was like, no, I can't. And then 15 minutes later, it's like, no, that would be a really good podcast name. So I did a couple searches. It wasn't there. Yeah. So we started up Crossing Animals, and we've been doing it. So we just recorded episode 7 last night. Nice. So it's been a hell of a lot of fun chatting with other Animal Crossing freaks. It's it's a good community.
It's a very good community. It's funny because I did the same thing. Like I was like, once I saw like, okay, the push and the momentum for Animal Crossing is starting, we in the Discord we put an Animal Crossing section, and then within like 2 weeks, I have like all these subsections under it. It's the only game that has like a million subsections. It's like trading fossils, trading DIYs, trading furniture, like turnips, and then my friend Rybo, he creates this bot, a Q bot for us, so that way, when someone has a good turnip price, you basically tell the bot the price, and then you tell the bot the dodo code, and then everybody queues up for it. And then as we had a Q bot, but Rybo being Rybo, it wasn't enough to have that one, and he programmed his own that like when people leave, it automatically DMs the next person with the dodo code, because it was where if I left, I would have to DM you and give you the dodo code. Rybo was like, that's too much work. Let's just get people in and out. So when I actually exit, it would DM the person. I'm like, this guy, like, what is going on? So
that's pretty sweet.
But it is sweet. But the crazy thing is like, it's the whole Animal Crossing has taken over the entirety of Discord, and it was funny because when we first started, you know, it was a little quiet. You know what I mean? Like you would have like me and Sean. He's my partner, Yumi Capri, and we would we would talk, and every day it's like, man, we were trying to drum up conversation, Now it's like the other day we were talking, like, we don't even talk anymore. Like, we don't even say nothing. And it's like every day it's like bling, bling, bling. The phone's going off every 5 seconds because they're talking. I'm like, I love this. I love this community, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's been the same on my Discord. It's blown up with Animal Crossing stuff, and then we started the podcast, and we got so many new people coming in, joining the community. It's just it's so amazing how wide-reaching and just how positive Animal Crossing has been, especially with what's been happening in the world. Like this seems to be the anchor of goodness that everybody is kind of holding on to. It's been pretty fantastic.
It's been amazing, honestly. And the crazy thing is like, let's be honest. If this was, and I'm not trying to take shots at any other games, but like if this was Call of Duty or something like that, like, man, it would be so toxic in the Discord. Like people yelling at each other, like, and this is like, hey, oh, you need this? I'm literally watching people in my community go like, hey man, Becky is over here crafting something. Do you guys want to come get the DIY? And it's like they're opening the gates and people are coming in just to talk to this one animal to get the DIY. And I'm like, this is just the pureness of the community. It's amazing to see.
It's unheard of in like Nintendo's always been kind of good, but there's like the odd person that's just being a jerk for the sake of being a jerk.
Of course.
But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of that for Animal Crossing, at least not that I've experienced.
No, me neither.
Not on my sites, not anything like that. So
Facebook's a little toxic. I will say Facebook's a little toxic. But I just fair. Whatever. I pop in occasionally just to see what the community over there is talking about, and then I bounce out, but it's whatever. Okay, so I like to start these shows off to kind of give the audience and myself a little feel of the person that we're dealing with. We want to know what your Animal Crossing street cred is. So this is how we start off each and every episode. So Lloyd, what was the very first Animal Crossing game that you ever played?
Animal Crossing on the GameCube. Okay. I picked it up after seeing an ad. I didn't know why I picked it up because it's not a game that I normally would play. Like I was more of like a shooter or an action adventure or a platformer kind of guy. But I'm like, oh, this looks really cool. So I picked it up, started playing it, instantly fell in love. Then I found an NES system in the game, and I'm like, wait a second, I can play old Nintendo games on a Nintendo game. And I was hooked, and that is all I did. I tried to put together the whole collection just to play the old NES games, because as you can tell, I'm a game collector, and being able to play games in a game was just like I was blowing my mind, and fell in love with it. Been playing it ever since.
So, who actually introduced you, or how did you become introduced to the game?
I was talking about this, trying to figure this out on my show. I don't remember. I think it might have been, I don't think it was a Nintendo Power that I read. It might have been like a Game Pro or an EGM, some other magazine where it was just a small little blurb, and then there was like an ad after it or something about Animal Crossing. And like I said, the aesthetic wasn't something that I was super high on, but it's like, okay, you could be in a virtual world. I love SimCity. I love other games where you're kind of making kind of your own place to explore and live in and destroy and all this stuff. Yeah. And it's like, this looks really interesting, and I needed something to play on my GameCube, so I picked it up kind of sight unseen. I was a big magazine guy, so either the issues of Nintendo Power that had Animal Crossing in it, I didn't read them, or they were just on my shelf to get at later. But it was something like, it was either a Game Pro or EGM, one of those other magazines where it's a small little blurb, and I was like, yep, gotta get this one, and I picked it up.
It's funny because most people talk about the brain, the corruption that Nintendo did with the brainwashing of people to get them to play games. But I never had any interest in the game at first. I had a friend beg me to play it, and I was like, all right, if you'll leave me alone, I'll try it. And he got me on the NES games, like totally on the NES games, and that was my hook, line, and sinker. I don't want to say New Horizons, but excluding New Horizons, what would you have said is your favorite Animal Crossing game?
That's a really good question. Like they're all good for specific reasons. They all have their own little thing. I would say probably for what I've played the most, probably New Leaf. Like that game was just like New Horizons has been now. It was kind of my all-encompassing game. That's the only thing that I played for months upon months upon months. Wanted to do everything. Was trading. with people doing a lot of fun stuff. Looking at all the people that were doing like village design stuff where you could pay them bells to come design your village, and there was like all this crazy stuff that was happening around it. And I probably put like 500-600 hours into that game, like over the years playing it, in the original release, and then the welcome amiibo stuff that they added on top of it. I put so much time into it. So that would have to be, I guess, my favorite, other than New Horizon, which I think now is my favorite, even though I've put like a fifth of the time into it.
Yeah.
There's just so much to do.
How much time do you have in New Horizons? Do you know?
Good question. Let me check. I have my Switch on right beside me. Let me pop in real quick to see. It was 145 hours.
That's quite a bit. Bit.
Yeah.
I'm pushing 200. Last time I checked, I was 190, and that was a couple days ago. So I'm probably quite a bit closer to 200 now. I really despise the way Nintendo does the time we play these games now. They used to be the masters of it. Like, I remember Sony and Xbox fans so pissed that they couldn't really check it the way they could on the 3DS or the Wii U. And then we get the Switch, and it's like, about, you know what I mean? Or like, it's like, come on, dude, really? Like,
and it takes a week to even show up in the first place,
yeah,
which is just like, the worst thing ever.
It's like, just show me how long I've been playing, man. But, and if you had to think back, like, what is your favorite memory of Animal Crossing?
I would probably say, it's kind of a toss up. I would think, to me, the thing that kind of just blew my mind was the first time that I found an NES console, and then I realized that I could actually play it and play those old NES games, because I didn't know that was part of the game, and I had no clue. It was just one of those things where it just popped up, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I'm like, wait a second, I'm playing golf or whatever game was the first one I got. I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. Yeah. And I think that was one of my favorite memories, other than just building the community in New Leaf and connecting with just a bunch of podcast listeners, and just having nights where we would all just get together and just run around and do stupid stuff. That was great. No one memory for that. It was kind of like a many months a memory. Yeah. But the NES stuff it just blew me away, because I had no idea that was even a thing.
You're right. To think that like that was all ingrained in that game. It's like they always have something in it that makes you go, oh man, this is kind of cool. Like here, and even with Welcome Amiibo, when they brought that update in, when they threw the Wii U and the 3DS in there, and it was like, these two games are amazing. Like, please, I need this. I need more. Would you say that New Horizons is your favorite game?
Yeah, totally, 100%. The crafting, the island designing, just everything about it. They've taken, not that there was a lot of rough edges on Animal Crossing, but they polished down a lot of the rough edges and made it just a better game. Yeah. But crafting, I'm a big Minecraft fan, so you tell me that a game has a crafting system, and my ears kind of perk up a little bit. And I've just been spending so much time looking for DIY recipes and running through and trying to build new things and kind of pad out my catalog a little bit more.
What would be, okay, so being that you enjoy crafting and that's one of your things, how do you feel that Animal Crossing crafting is in par to other crafting games like Minecraft or whatever? What's your takeaways with it?
I think it's as far as Minecraft, I think it's on a comparable level. Obviously, you can do a lot more with Minecraft. Yeah. But I like that there's just a few kind of source elements, and you're building all these things that mostly make sense with the elements that you're using for it. I wish there was a little bit of an easier way to actually craft things, like being able to select, I want to make 9 axes and have it just build out your 9 axes. To me, one of the biggest changes they could do would be, if you're crafting in your house, it looks in your storage, so you don't have to go out and pull stuff out of your inventory or pull stuff out and put into your inventory. Yeah. Little things like that would make the crafting system pretty much perfect in my eyes. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun anyway, even without those, but just a couple little tweaks and it could be pretty much perfect.
I think the one thing additional that I would personally prefer is, like, when I want to craft an axe, don't make me do a flimsy. Just go, hey, Bobby, you have all the key elements for the flimsy. You have everything for the axe. Okay, boom, go. No, they look at it and go, you need the flimsy axe in order to create this. not thinking like, okay, he's going to create the Flint. He has enough to do this and this. Let's just get it done. I hope. I mean, we've been seeing updates coming with this game, and I'm hoping that like as time progresses, like we'll start to see some drastic updates with this and tweaks to the game. And I mean, look it, the game is. I just did a video today where I talked about the sales, and they are, my God, unbelievable. Like, they are destroying records with this game. And when Nintendo has a game that does that, like, the game that's in comparison, like, it is the number 3 physical copy, the number 3 ranked physical copy sold game in the first month for all Nintendo consoles, everything. Right. The only 2 ahead of it are Smash games. And that's the new Smash, Smash Ultimate, and Smash Brawl, right? So when you look at those 2 in comparison, you see the way that Nintendo treats those franchises. There's no reason to think that they're not going to keep doubling down on this one and just pushing everything to this. And I believe, at least I would hope anyway, that Nintendo is now looking at this and going, man, with these numbers, we need to start. You guys need to start going back to the drawing table, and we're going to push further. We're going to do more than what you guys already did.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. Like this game's already gotten more patches than almost any other Nintendo game that I can remember. There's some bug fixing stuff in there, but also some other like quality of life stuff that they've thrown in. But then they come out with this patch in April, and it's like, okay, we're going to be doing these 5 things throughout May. Here you go. Here's all this content that you're going to get. I think they could keep doing that. Like if they keep doing this every month and a half where we get a big patch with a bunch of content, this game's just going to be ridiculous. They could easily do a year of frequent updates. To me, it seems like they're treating this more like a mobile game than they are their console games, because in their mobile games, they do that. They're constantly rolling out new features, new stuff. It seems to me like they're almost treating this like a mobile game that they have, which is great. There's no microtransactions, so that's great. It's not being treated that way. But just the fact that they're constantly pushing out this content. So we'll see if it holds up. But if it does, I mean, we could be talking about this a year from now and still be saying amazing things about Animal Crossing.
Absolutely.
It's super exciting.
My feeling has been, but although I didn't really think that they would do this, it's obvious, and we know, anybody that's paid attention, we know that part of the team here also works on the Splatoon franchise. And that's the way Splatoon does this. Splatoon does these rollouts where every couple of weeks you're getting new maps and new weapons, and they're nerfing stuff, and they're boosting stuff, and they're making change, all these constant tweaks. I never in my wildest dreams thought that they would treat Animal Crossing similar to a Splatoon. And we're seeing this, and I'm going, man, they committed to 2 years with Splatoon 2.
Right.
And they were like, we're doing this. This is the way it's going to be. We're going to commit. We're going to go hardcore. Man, I would love for them to come out and go, we are committing to 2 years for Animal Crossing. You're going to get consistent updates and everything happening. I mean, we know they're going to go right around till probably Christmas, New Year's, easily. I would assume Valentine's are going to do something. You can easily see they're going to continue to do stuff every month. As old time fans, we know there's so much stuff missing from this game, and I was at first very scared. Like, all this stuff is missing. I mean, don't get me wrong. What they gave us is a packed game, but there's so much missing that I thought to myself, this is a little unnerving. That there's a lot missing. Let's see exactly. But now we're seeing that, like, we're gonna get all this stuff.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's. I had kind of the same feelings as you. It's like, okay, well, there's no this, there's no that, there's no Kix. Oh, okay, you can eventually see Kix, but he's not going to have his own store. Okay, well, that's okay. Oh, there's no paintings. Oh, that's weird. Okay, well, I guess maybe that'll come later or not. Whatever, that's not a big deal. But then to see like all the big things that were kind of missing in my eyes are patched in already. And then there's a lot of lesser things which hopefully will come in the near future. There was the data mine that posted, and I'm not talking about it on my show or any other shows because I want everyone that's playing the game to be surprised. But when you look at that data mine, it's like, okay, well, a lot of the things that everyone's complaining that this game doesn't have, it's going to get it. It's just a matter of time. And I kind of like that rollout. Like the way Nintendo's changed their method of doing Animal Crossing, where you can't immediately skip to December and see all of the holiday stuff happening. That is a huge change. And it seems like they're doing that with all the content. It's like you don't know everything that's in the game because it's not in the game, and they're gonna slowly roll that out and patch it. Hopefully over 2 years. That would be fantastic. It would be great if next Bunny Day is different than the Bunny Day we just had.
That's what I was gonna say. I would hope. Well, first off, being old school gamers on this, we realized that this was a condensed holiday because of where the game came out and where the holiday hit. It was very tight and condensed. Typically, a holiday's a month long, so they have time to stretch it and do what they're going to do for the entire month, or at least 20-something days ahead of time. This was a little different. This was a little crammed. I get it. I'm okay with it, and especially when they nerfed it. But that was another thing, like the fact that people were complaining and they immediately jumped in and nerfed it.
Yeah,
like that's amazing, man.
That's not Nintendo. That's not what Nintendo does.
No, yeah.
And they would be like, no, we've designed it this way and you're going to enjoy it. And they're like, oh my God, people are not happy. All right, let's change this.
Yeah.
It was so good to see. And it makes me excited for some of the future content, some of the bigger the bigger content drops, or the bigger, I guess, holidays. It wouldn't be a content drop in earlier versions, but I'm excited to see what they're going to do over like Thanksgiving or Christmas and some of those things, Mardi Gras, like all the big events that were fun, but okay. I'm excited to see what they're going to be adding, and what type of other gameplay elements they're going to be adding to the game around those.
I would also like to see, like, as we move forward, the one thing that was nice about New Leaf was when we did fishing tournaments and bug offs. They changed them. They changed them in the old game. In New Leaf, what they did was one fishing tournament, it would be a specific fish, and then a next tournament it would be any fish, but the whole object was catch the biggest fish of whatever. So it might be a tournament where at the time Chip was like, hey, get me the biggest sea bass. And you would have to go out and catch a million sea bass and try to find the biggest. Then it would come back the next week and go, just give me the biggest fish. And we'd be like, okay. And then I would pull out all my sharks and my whale fish and all the stuff that I caught on the island early that morning and go, here you go. But this is also different where I kind of like this tournament a little bit, where it's like, hey, man, you're on a timer. Go catch as much as you can, and then you're going to accumulate points, and that's where I mean, how did you do the tournament? How did you feel about it?
I did. It was grindy. I got everything. Like I got my 300 points. I got my gold statue or gold trophy and all the things to do with it. I was sick as a dog. Like I thought I actually had coronavirus when I was sick. Like I've never been. Well, that's not true. I've been that sick before, but I was really sick. So I was laying in bed. I have a Genki portable dock. So I hooked that up to my TV in the bedroom, small little TV, put my Switch like far away from me. I could barely see and focus on anything. And I did the fishing tournament for like 5 hours or whatever it took me to complete it, because I was like fever dream in and out and stuff like that. So I didn't do it the normal way people would do it. There was a little bit more to it. But yeah, like I actually enjoyed it, even though it was grindy. And then I found out down the road, it's like, well, if you did it as a group, it was way easier. And I'm like, I didn't even know. Yeah. And if I was up to it, that's totally the way that I would have done it. That
was something we learned because I was streaming it. And we learned it pretty quickly. And it just became this blast of like, we got up to 4 people. And we were all in there, and we'd all just bounce off and go fish in different places. And then we would catch what we had and then come back. And it was like, oh, this is so amazing. Because your points are going way up. And it was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I want. Like, I want to, you think about it. It's like, I'm getting to fish with people that I'm friends with. And it's a reward. And it's like, it was all a system. And it was like, whoever scored the lowest points was the last one to go talk to, CJ, and then they were the ones that had to trigger the next tournament. And the other thing that needs to get fixed is when you have a lot of people fishing in your tournament or in your town, it will literally dry up the rivers and the ocean. Right. And what you have to do is, as the person that owns the island, you have to go into town hall, go into a building and come back out, and it kind of resets the spawns.
Oh, okay.
So once you do that, it's fine. So every round, I was turning in my fish, doing what I had to do, and then I would run in to town hall reset, and then come back, and then I would run to my fishing spot. And then
Right.
by that time, hopefully the person was triggering it. And the other thing you have to do is you have to sell all the fish in.
Yeah.
If you don't, he won't let you go to the next round and start.
Right.
So you have to do that.
Yeah.
Of all the things that we don't have so far, what's probably your biggest thing that you want to show up?
Oh, geez. What do I want to show up in the game? I'm usually not a clothing guy in video games. I don't really care what I look like in a video game, but I've been playing this one with my daughter. So she's 12. She is big into clothing related things. So we go to the store and she makes me buy like 15 things. And then before we start playing, she makes me dress weird. So I have a weird costume on all the time. And it's fun. She loves it. I love it. She plays on her Switch. I play on my Switch. What I really want is to have kicks there all the time. I want to have an upgraded kind of clothing thing. Not necessarily for me, but just for the fun that I'm having playing with my daughter. So I mean, it's not a huge feature. Just give kicks a place there so I can get new shoes, and new accessories, and things like that. Different maybe costumes, like having more costumes available at all times would be great. But just being able to go in and play dress up with my daughter has just been something that I'm enjoying way more than I ever thought I would. So
way more than you should be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's not what I've ever found fun in a game, and I'm actually really enjoying it with New Horizons.
The one thing that I did in like New Leaf was I would always buy out the store, and the reason why was there was always this test that I knew was coming at some time with Gracie Grace. So I wanted to get Gracie Grace to move into town, so I would constantly buy everything in the stores, clothing-wise, and just stockpile them and save them for when Gracie started showing up. This one, I'm finding myself literally going there because I love the clothing store. Like, it's probably one of my favorite, like, upgraded stores. I didn't realize how much I was going to love it. The only thing I don't like is I can only buy one shirt. Like, you're showing me 5 different colors, and I love every single one. And I'm like, but I can only do one? Like, and then you have to keep going back in and back in. I would like this. I would either, like, you could pick multiple items and buy them at once, or just click a button and buy the whole store out. Because that's
hit Y.
Hit Y, and it triggers everything. You're good to go. That's how I feel sometimes. I'm like, man, I just want everything here. It is just unbelievable how good it is.
I'm the same way with like all the crazy like helmets and things that come up. It's like, well, yeah, I want an I don't know, an Ultraman helmet. Yeah, I want all the colors of the Ultraman helmet. Of course I do, but you have to keep going and back in multiple times, like you said. So that'd be a really great feature to be able to select multiples.
And the funny thing was with New Leaf, I would get dressed and I would wear the same outfit for like weeks, months. Like never. I'm literally changing every single day.
It's exact same. In New Leaf, I made, as soon as I could design custom clothing, I made a Winnipeg Jets jersey, and that's all I wore. Yeah. That is all I wore for the whole time that I played New Leaf. I maybe changed a couple times, but I made a custom Winnipeg Jets jersey, and I wore that the whole time I played the game. So that's all I used. And now, like you said, I'm changing clothes almost every single day. Multiple times a day if I'm playing with my daughter, because she can't just say no, you need to change, let's put something else on, so we go and get changed that way. But yeah, I love the clothing in the game. Not my scene at all, and I'm really loving that part of the game. I think what it is when you're in the change room and every time you put something else on, you're like, ooh, and it's like, I just love those stupid little animations. It makes me want to buy more stuff.
What It is nuts, right? It's just crazy. Like I find myself just going in there and like I'll go in multiple times. Like I'll come out and go, okay, I want to buy more, and I go back in and I'm like buying more stuff. It's nuts. It's so good. It's
crazy.
What let's talk about this museum.
Sure.
How unbelievable is this thing compared to other games?
I didn't realize how crazy it was going to be until because I heard it was big. Because before the game came out, I read a review and they're like, oh yeah, the museum has been heavily upgraded, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I really like the museum. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
And then I got the game and I got the museum and built the museum, and I was like, oh, this is so good. I can't wait. And then I actually got lost walking around the aquarium section. Right? And I'm like, how am I lost in a video game? I almost had to call for help to see if they would pick me up and take me home. I didn't know where to go.
Could you imagine that?
It's just it's just so unbelievable, and I'm really excited. It's my upgraded museum is gonna open tomorrow, and then I'll be able to check all the painting and the gallery stuff and go around there. And it makes me wonder what else they're gonna add. Are we gonna get a coffee shop again? Are we gonna get a bunch of other stuff added to the museum? Other types of collectibles. That would be a really great thing.
So let's discuss yesterday. So yesterday you fire up. Is Leaf in your town?
What happened was I was about to record Wednesday night. I was about to record an episode of Crossing Animals, and we do it live. So we're in game. I made a little podcast studio, and we all sit in chairs, and you have cameras and all this stuff, and it looks goofy, but it's kind of fun at the same time. So we do that, and we went to do the call at 8:00 Central, and the servers were down, and I'm like, what? Why are the servers down? That's weird. Realized that the patch came out. So downloaded the patch, installed it Wednesday night, went and talked to Blathers. He talked about artwork, which was great. So I was like, oh, okay, so that's going to be there. Shut the game off, realized we couldn't podcast. Woke up yesterday, went and did all the stuff. So Leaf was in my town. Red was wandering around my town. I got the artwork. I donated the artwork, all that stuff. All done in one day. So I think I got like a day's head start because of the late patch that came out.
Yeah, because so for me yesterday, Leaf was there, Red was not. Red was there today, so now I donated my first thing, and now we're set up where we'll have, our art gallery starting up. But so what does it do? Does it lock you down? Like does the canopy go around the museum again? So you can't donate or you can't do anything for a day. It locks it down. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. I have a bunch of 4 fossils sitting in my inventory right now waiting for tomorrow so that I can get those ones checked and the 4 fossils that I find tomorrow checked, and then go wander around the art gallery.
It's amazing. That thing to me is unbelievable. And the one thing I'm hoping, because we saw during the trailer that it was white and it had banners going down the front of it. What I'm hoping is aesthetically we can change it up and make it different things, kind of like our house. Like we could change the facade and change, because that would be just adding another layer of customization to this thing that just sets everybody apart from each other. Like mine could be purple, yours could be red, whatever it is, but it would be just different across the board for everybody. And I think that's what would be just unbelievable, honestly, for a lot of people to have that customization. What do you? So the weddings that are that's going to be coming.
Yeah.
What's your take on them? Like, what do you think really is able to happen?
I think what it's going to be is just more of a photo booth where you're just setting up a photo thing and setting it up similar to if you play Pocket Camp, where you can kind of set up little like kind of diorama sort of things, like kind of decorate an area that doesn't stay forever. I'm thinking that it might be more that. I'm happy if I'm wrong, because I wouldn't really find that super enjoyable myself. Maybe it's going to be more, which would be a really great thing. But yeah, that was the one confusing thing about the trailer. It's like, okay, so you're putting down a chair and you're turning it around and they smile for the camera. Like what's going on here? It was really kind of confusing.
That's the same thing I thought. I thought like, okay, this is going to be where you can have a wedding chapel set up over in Harv's Island, and you can actually snap pictures. You can bring in with amiibo cards and whatever, bring in what animals you want to bring in and kind of stage them how you want to stage them, and then just snap some pictures and be done. And I think that's probably the level where we're going, and that it seems like that's going to be what it is. So have you called for help since you played the game?
I did once. So I was running around the outside of my island, getting shells and fishing and stuff like that. And it seemed like the water was higher than it normally was. So I had some decorations right on the edge. I had a clothesline, And when I ran over the clothesline, next thing you know, I'm popped out in the middle of the ocean. And so I'm running on the water, outside, far outside of the map, and I'm like, what happened? So I run towards the shore, and I can't get on the sand. I can't get on the stones. I can't get on the grass. I can't do anything. I ran around my whole island trying to get back on somewhere, trying to maybe glitch myself back in. So then I had to call for help once to get out from the middle of the ocean. And I didn't even expect it to work. I was like, okay, I glitched my save. I'm never going to be able to play this game again. Thankfully, the call for help button was able to get me back into my bed. And then I could go explore again and be a little bit more careful about running by the edge of the ocean when my decorations are so close.
That's craziness. That's craziness. Let's talk about Amiibo a little bit here.
Okay.
Collector, not collector, don't care, whatever. Like, what's your level of Amiibo and with Animal Crossing?
I have about, from all the Amiibo, I have about maybe half the collection. I've collected only the ones that I really like.
Okay.
For Animal Crossing, I have, again, about half of the physical Amiibo, and I have maybe 25 of the Amiibo cards. I wanted more, but Canada didn't seem to really get them. This was kind of like the Amiibo crash happened in Canada earlier than at least in Winnipeg.
Yeah, you guys had a problem. Well, you guys also, losing Target hurt you guys, too.
Yeah, so there was definitely that, but it seems like at least in Winnipeg, like maybe Toronto and Vancouver, maybe that would have been a little bit different. But none of the stores had Amiibo, and none of the stores had Amiibo cards. So I found like a Toys R Us, which is still open up here. Back in the day, I was able to buy a couple packs and then maybe picked up a couple other ones as I was just exploring. I would have gladly bought like a stack of them if they were available, but they just weren't. And I wanted more, but I wasn't going to pay any inflated price ordering from the States, so I just kind of left them. I'm really hopeful Nintendo prints more because I'd love to collect all 400 cards and get all of them again. The ones I have, I'm really happy because I got some of my favorite characters are there, so I lucked out that way.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other ones that I'd love to have just handy that I could call to town anytime I want to get a DIY or if I have an open space to invite them.
I really believe anyway that was the plan. The plan was we're going to bring these things out. We're going to follow it up with another round of Amiibo cards and maybe some more figures, like maybe a CJ figure and maybe a Daisy May and all that stuff. But then obviously the situation we're in right now, that hit and that kind of messed up the factories and kind of messed up, I think, big plan things, because even the strategy guide.
Yeah.
Strategy guide is so backordered, it's not even funny.
Yep. I haven't even gotten an updated ship date yet from Amazon, and I pre-ordered it so long ago.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't either.
Mine's going to arrive.
Mine's, I actually went, because I want the thing. You know what I mean? Like, I had one for every single game, and this one feels like there's so many changes in it that it's a good thing to get, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I actually went and ordered a second one just from Best Buy, just in case. Because I was like, this is crazy. I can't not have this thing. This is just, it would drive me bonkers not to have it.
Yep, same.
So you wake up in the morning, your daughter dresses you. What's your ritual? How do you start your day off and stuff?
All right. Well, so I wake up, I check my mail because I've probably ordered stuff from the day before so I could get some more decorations to go do some stuff in town. Then I run around the outside, going up to the top and up and around, up the second and third levels to look for fossils and things, and look for message in a bottle. And then I come back around. I go to the Nooklings, talk to them, get ripped off, buying furniture from them, sell anything that I had from the night before. Then I go to the resident services, check all of the stuff to see if there's any other DIY recipes, which there's probably never going to be any new DIY recipes I don't have, but I keep checking.
Yeah, I did too. I keep hoping they're going to update. I thought yesterday too. I thought with the new update they might pop a couple new ones in there, but they didn't.
There's like two shirts, two like Aloha shirts that they added, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So nothing that I really care too much about. And then I check the store, even though I have it on my phone. I like to check it on the ATM, so I remember to go to the ATM to get my 300 Nook miles every day.
Yes.
And then I invite a villager so that I have another DIY potential.
Yeah,
and then and that's pretty much it. And then after that, if I have time, I go bang some rocks or I go water some flowers. But usually I have to leave for work and head out to work, and then it's usually around 5-6 in the evening when I get back, and then I can finish up the rest of the chores that I hadn't done.
That's what I was going to ask. Are you're working daily even through all this stuff? Okay.
Yep.
Because I am as well, and it's it's really putting a damper on my Animal Crossing time.
It's tough to see someone post like turnips selling for 600 bells. And I'm like,
you're at work, right?
I'm at work.
Is that the worst? Is that the worst?
It's
like,
terrible.
People will hit me up and they'll be like, "Hey, we're at 450," and I'm like, "I'm at work. Is that the morning price or the afternoon price?" Because you don't know where the people are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, "It's the morning price." I'm like, "No, I can't do nothing, man. I'm screwed."
Yep.
So it's so disheartening to see them prices come in. It's like, oh, I'm missing it. But fortunately, I've been playing a very aggressive turnip game.
Okay.
Where I started out the first week. I did about 100,000 bells. Made about, because I like kind of got out kind of quick. You know what I mean? Like I dabbled and I was like, we're going. It's above what I paid. We're going. And then the second week I bought 500,000 bells and pulled 2 million bells in on it. This week I did the same thing. I bought 500,000 bells, made like 2.8 million bells, and I'm
nice.
like, do I go a million? Do I go a million bells? Just go all in, and then like, because if you do a million, and you buy them for like 100 bells, if you get 300-400 bells, like that's a huge profit, man.
Yeah,
that's a huge profit.
It is. I've only bought bells twice, or sorry, turnips twice.
Mm-hmm.
I bought them the first time. I only bought like maybe 1,000 because I didn't have enough bells to do it. So I bought them. I made maybe 4 or 5 times my money because I got lucky with a buddy. Or no, that one I made 2.5. So I bought them for 100 exactly, and I sold them for 251. And I was like, okay, this is great. So I doubled and a half my money. That was great, but it wasn't a lot, so it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I bought 500,000 bells worth of turnips, and I bought them at 104 or 107, something like that.
Yeah.
And my prices started at 100, and then they kept going down, and I'm like, oh no, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. And then on Friday, a friend of mine's wife actually texted me saying, "Hey, do you still have turnips?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, well, they're selling for 484 on my island. Do you want to come sell them?" I'm like, "Yes, please." So I went and blew those out, and I made a big chunk of money. I paid off the last upgrade, or I did 2 upgrades actually. So I was able to get the basement. I haven't paid off the basement yet because there's no real reason to. I don't care about what you get for doing that. It's not a big priority for me. And I still have 1 million bells in the bank. So so I was like, okay, do I really need to buy that many? Yeah, I guess, but maybe not. And then the following week, I couldn't buy turnips. Like, she wasn't in my town for whatever reason. Like, I couldn't find her. She might have been hidden somewhere behind a building. I don't know, but I ran around multiple times through the day, through the morning, and I couldn't find her. So I'm like, okay, maybe she glitched out, or maybe something weird happened. And then last weekend, I wanted to buy, but I saw her in the morning. I was like, okay, I'm going to come back and buy later. I got to clean up some room. And then I got super busy. I got a call that I had to do some work stuff. And I ended up going and doing some working remotely, doing some stuff. And by the time that I was done, it was too late. So I've done 2 weeks with 2 weeks with turnips and 2 weeks without. So I'm really excited for next week to hopefully buy some so that I can have my nest egg, which will carry me through whatever content updates are going to be coming in the future.
The crazy thing is I got people in my Discord, and they've got like 10 million bells already because they've been going aggressive for weeks, and I'm like, it's a little bit different story when you are kind of in the quarantine situation and you're stuck home all day.
Sure.
Where you can literally just not worry about it because you can get any price pretty much that goes up as long as you can get into the town. But I'm waiting for the day. It's coming. The day when everybody buys a lot and it's like nobody gets a good price. And we're all just dying to do
Everyone's
something.
broke.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is like I have cousins who will message me and they'll be like, my cousin this week was like, hey, I got 400,000 bell, whatever. or 400 a bell, 400 bells a turnip. And I'm like, okay, I'll come over, whatever. And she's like, I made more money from people tipping me coming in to buy than I did selling my turnips. And I'm like, that is crazy. But if you get a good price, man, people are willing to just come in and do whatever. And she said, like, people were paying her in turnips, people were giving her bells. And I'm like, this is just the good life, man. The good life.
One of my Discord users is like that. He had I think he had like 380 or something. So not a crazy amount, but not a small amount either. And he said that he made about 2 million bells from tips, both people tipping gold ingots and people just dropping bags of bells at the end of selling a bunch of turnips. So it's like, oh, okay, well maybe you make the money just by getting lucky and having a good turnip price. And don't even play the game.
Don't even play. Just chill out and pray every day that you get a good number.
The only way to win is to not play at all. So maybe that'll be the way that I make my nest egg.
The funny thing is people don't even recognize and realize. I think they're very spoiled right now. They don't know how hard it is to pull a good number. Mm-hmm. Like one time I had a buddy of mine. This is back on the way, we did this whole turnip scam where we bought like millions of bells worth of turnips. This is in the middle of the week because he's time traveling. So we go over, we buy millions of bells worth, bring them to my town. It took us like an hour and a half to move all the turnips to my town. And then he's like, starts time traveling every day to get a good price. And he's like, it took us probably like an hour, 2 hours to find a good price. And it was like, he kept just changing the clock. Oh. And it took forever to get it. And then it was one of those things of like, hey, it's 400. Do we just sell? And he's like, I think we could do better. And he keeps going. And we wound up selling for like 600 or something like that. And I was like, God. It was nuts. But we had so much. Honestly, it broke the game. We had so much money. It was like, you literally just, it was like, you're throwing money at everything. It's like, sure, I'm going to go in, I buy out the stores. It's no brainer. People are coming over to visit. I'm dropping 100,000 bells on them. Like, it's crazy. And they're like, no. I'm like, trust me, I got like 60 million in the bank. We're good, man. Don't even worry about it. It was nuts. It was the most money I ever had in any of the Animal Crossing games.
Well, I thought I wouldn't need money because I was like, I've paid off all my mortgage. Like, I'm not going to need anything. And then I saw a buddy posted a screenshot on Twitter that a grand piano was selling in the Nook store for 264,000 bells. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to need a lot of bells if I want to collect all the really nice furniture. So I guess I'm going to have to play the stock market a little bit more just to get that happening.
Yesterday I went in and they had a kimono thing, like this thing hanging on this rack. And that was like 220,000 bells.
Seriously, I got one of those from a balloon. I didn't realize it was that expensive.
Yeah, man. That thing is crazy money, man. I said, what? I'm like, what is going on? But I will say this. I'm really happy with the Nook's Cranny upgrade.
Yes.
I love the, and this might be, I'm pretty sure at this point everybody should be upgraded, but if you're not, I apologize, a little spoilerly. But the upgraded tools that are in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can customize them and change the cut, and it's like, these things are amazing. Like, they're better than the gold. Like, I don't even want a gold fishing rod. Like, I'll just take the ones because they got bobbers on them. They look really cool.
Yep.
They've kind of pushed away the need for the gold stuff. It's like,
when I first found out that gold stuff was in the game, I'm like, awesome. That's going to be the unbreakable tools. This is great. And then you find out that they're breakable, and I'm like, okay,
so annoying, right?
Why would I waste a golden ingot? I'm going to wait to get the gold suit of armor DIY and then use them all there or something. Or when I make something else, I'll do it then. I'm not going to waste it on any golden tools, except for the slingshot. I had to do the golden slingshot just to see what it looked like.
I did the gold slingshot. I'm going to do the gold watering can. And the only reason I do the gold watering can, because that's the only, honestly, other than, well, you know what, that's not true. The gold slingshot, and the golden fishing rod, the gold watering can and the golden fishing rod are probably the two most important tools that you'll get. As long as the gold fishing pole is the same as it was in previous games, where, and for those who don't know, like, you cast and the fish immediately turn to the bobber. Yep. So you're not trying to hit the front of their head. You could basically toss it like in the vicinity. If you throw it behind them, they're not going to turn around and go to it. But if you throw it in front of them, no matter where it is, they'll turn and go right to it.
Sure.
So that's a plus. But I found, and maybe I'm just getting very lucky, the one rod, it's called the fishing or the fishy pole or whatever. That
Yeah.
one seems to lure them in pretty
Oh,
quickly.
okay.
And it also feels like they're hitting it hard, quick. Like there's not a lot of like boom, boom, boom. It's like, now I fished a little bit more extensive last night and it was starting to fade out a little bit. But a lot of the fish were hitting it on the first shot. And I was like, that's different. Like that's a different thing. So, but I like the rods. I like the looks of them. I like I like everything about them. I think it's better.
I like the fact that you can buy upgraded tools now, even though they're 2,500 bells. Yeah. I'll easily, if I break a shovel and I don't want to go craft one, I'll just go buy whatever's in the store at 2,500 bells. Just
cool looking.
Yeah, they look fantastic. Dude. Except for the kitty one, the toy one. It kind of makes me. It's not that it doesn't look good, but it makes me kind of giggle every time because it just looks like it's a play school shovel, but yet you can hit rocks with it and it doesn't shatter into a million pieces.
I got a purple cheetah looking one.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is a thing. We're just gonna use it. Get out there and just go. The slingshot even looks good too.
It does.
The slingshot looks like a really good slingshot that you like.
It does.
With the flare outs on it and stuff. I'm like, man, I don't even want the gold stuff anymore.
The one that I saw in the store yesterday, it almost looked like it was carbon fiber. It's like silver and kind of black, and I'm like, that's nice.
Exactly.
I didn't pick it up. I was stupid. I thought it would be there every day, but no, they keep flopping in and out.
I love the star net. I think the star net is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually buying multiples of them just because I'm like, I like these things. I bought the star net. I bought the big one. It's kind of look like it's different shades of color and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Just what we needed. More things to collect in the game.
Pretty much, right? That's all it is. We just need more stuff to get. It's the game is, to me, probably hands down, man, it's got to be one of the best games I've played so far in the past couple of months. Like, not the like I would say, like even going back into early or late 2019, like even though we got bombarded with games in the tail end of 2019, like this game just, to me, it's a different vibe, different feel, and they're doing so many changes to it. It's just great to line up and play it, you know?
Yeah, it's by far one of my favorite games on the Switch that I've played. Nintendo's done what they usually do, which is take an idea and refine it. But it seems like Nintendo of the last few years was more, let's take an idea and just change one little thing and then sell it to you for $60.
Yeah.
This one, they took the formula and they tweaked almost everything. Like almost everything about this game is different in some way compared to older Animal Crossings. And it's in a different way, but for the better, not for the worse. Like they didn't take it and ruin it, which is just as easy to do when you're changing all these different aspects of a video game. So they did a really good job. Like kudos to Nintendo for doing this one right.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And I think that when you look at this and you see the drip measure of the updates, and then you see all the stuff that we could do with the terraforming and all this stuff. How are you doing with terraforming? How's it working for you?
I changed a couple things. I got rid of one of the rivers, which was from the left side of the island. I just got rid of the whole thing because it was annoying. I've added a couple cliffs, a couple extra extended cliffs, just so I could do multi-tier waterfalls. But I don't know if I want to change too much of the land that way. I'm more about planning out where I'm going to put all the paths. I don't like. I visit a lot of the people in my Discord's towns or islands, and they are gorgeous. Like every single tile on the whole game has been touched by something. And then I look at mine, and it's essentially day one with a few extra paths, and it's like, oh god, I got so much work to do, and it's like stressing me out. It's like analysis paralysis. I don't know what to do, what to change. I may just leave it without anything and then just be like kind of like the ghetto island that people can come visit. Like nothing's done, just because I don't know what to change. There's just so much you can do.
I've told people that have come to me, just start with paths.
Yeah.
Start with paths, and then you'll find yourself slowly finding new stuff to do. But once you get, I really truly believe this. Once you get into once you jump into the terraforming game, where you're like putting in waterfalls and raising the ground and taking the ground out, man, it turns into an animal that just you lose your mind on. Like it
Well,
is so good.
I was watching a video on Reddit of someone's town, and they did such a good job adding like so many waterfalls and just so many different things to make their island just look so gorgeous.
Yeah.
But then the person, I don't know if it was a guy or girl, was running from wherever they were at the kind of the start on the bottom right of the map, and they wanted to go to the museum, and it took them like 2 minutes to get there because they have to go up this incline and around and hop over this thing and go around this little tiny path to the back. And it's like, okay, might not be my island might not be pretty, but at least I can get from point A to point B in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't have to do any sort of weird mazes to get around. So maybe it's not such a bad thing to keep things simple.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I gotta do it. But
the one thing that I want back so badly, and I've said this numerous times, I want the Dream Suites back. Because man, I got news for you. When that dude put up the level or put up the map of Earthbound a couple weeks ago, I was like, I just want to go there. Like, I don't know who he is, how to reach out to him, how to get a hold of him. He's in Japan. I don't know if he would let me come in or not. I'm like, I just want to go there and spend like the rest of my life there. The thing looks gorgeous, and it's like did such a good job with it. And I'm like, this is what I want from this game. And then,
I mean, there's all the Pokemon worlds, and there's like the Mario 1-1 thing, and I'd love to check all those things out because there's no way in heck I'm going to be spending my time doing that. I just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah.
But I'd love to experience it. That would be a great feature for Nintendo to add back.
That's what gets me really excited when they start to, because it's going to happen at some point, when they start implementing the Nintendo items. When that stuff starts coming back, man, watch out. Because then you're going to see some people take some levels and really do some stuff. Like I was talking about this the other day. My buddy, he was at a retro video game store, his name's Nick, and he built an area in his town already for the Master Sword. Like it's like it's like kind of like a Lost Woods little section, and it's like, and he's like, when they finally release it, that's where the Master Sword's going. I'm like, that is so cool, man. Like that's the stuff.
Oh, I love that. All I want is a warp pipe that allows you to, instead of using an incline, you go into a warp pipe and you appear up on that cliff right above it.
That'd be amazing.
That would be such an awesome item for them to add to the game.
How cool would that be? See, I kind of thought, like in my mind, I thought, man, if they would add textures, like texture packs, just like Minecraft does.
Yeah.
And like you could buy a Mario texture pack, and it changes all the grass and all the walls and everything, the dirt, to look like Mario levels.
Sure.
And then the same thing with like you could buy like a Breath of the Wild texture pack, and it would like change the weeds to look in the grass to look like more, Breath of the Wild stuff. And
that'd be awesome.
And the mountains would have like, different things. And the one thing that I feel like at times I feel like is such a missed opportunity is it'd be so cool if you could build to the third level, right? And then in your texture packs have snow, and then put the snow down, and then that, like you, at some days, like when it's raining, it would snow up on that peak rather than, because like
that would be cool.
It would be very cool because you think about it, like think about Colorado. Now, here's the thing: if I go in and I put it grass, it won't snow there. But if I make it snow, then the game knows automatically that like if it's raining in the town, that's snow up in that section. To me, it would be like, it's like when you go to Colorado, like it's snowing up in the mountains, but in the valleys and stuff, it's not. And it's like it'd be so cool to have that. Great. I would love it. That
would be fantastic. I would love to see that. I would love something as simple as using the tool that you can use inside your house to decorate outside. So just you hit a button, and all of a sudden you get this top down view, and you could place items and move them around without having to push and drag them.
That's right.
That would be a great feature as well. Like just quality of life stuff added to the game would just make it, because it kind of it's a chore, or like if you're using the shovel to dig out water, have a little square in front of you where the shovel's going to hit, so you know exactly what tile you're interacting with.
Yes.
Like little quality of life things like that would just make the game it's already pretty much perfect, but it would make it even more. It would dial that perfect meter up just a little bit more.
And I mean, if Nintendo is looking at this in the terms of like how Minecraft did, we'll get that stuff. Like, if
Yeah.
they're looking at it and going, okay, how do we make this game better in the aspect of terraforming and changing and cultivating the town and the island, we'll get that stuff. Like, it just makes sense that it's Nintendo type things to go like, hey, this makes the game better. Let's put it in there. It's crazy that, you and I come from eras where when you got the game, it was a complete game. It was fixed. There was no problems, no bugs. The generations today, they get a game and they have this massive day one patch, and the game's broken most of the time, and they have to fix it and do all this stuff. And we're in a situation where Nintendo ships a complete game, the game's perfect, the game's fixed, and now they're just fine tuning and changing stuff. And it's like, this is amazing, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
And like I said it already, like we're getting so many patches for this game, something that Nintendo hasn't done. Like you said, Bunny Day, people were complaining about all the eggs. They dial that back.
Yeah,
that has never happened. Nintendo hasn't done that. So that makes me even more excited for the future of this game, knowing that Nintendo's listening to us and acting on our suggestions or pleas. So hopefully some of the things that we're saying on podcasts like this, Nintendo's listening and saying, oh yeah, you know what, having the indoor decoration tool outdoors, sure, yeah, that makes total sense. Let's see if we can get that in the game.
It does. Another thing I would like to do is be able to hang stuff on the walls,
on
the cliffs. Like, treat it like, hey, that's an outdoor wall. Let's throw a clock up there, or let's throw a wreath up there, or whatever. I mean, like, it'd be really cool to have.
That'd be great. Or textures, like if you want to do like an ivy texture, you could do like make a stamp tool and just put that on the side of the cliffs. That would be fantastic as well.
Lloyd, thank you for coming on.
This was anytime, man.
And listen, this was, for those who don't, this was super last minute. I hit Lloyd up last night because my guest got sick for this week, and I was like, Lloyd, can you help me out? You're like, I'm podcasting tonight. I'm like, no, tomorrow night. You're like, oh yeah, tomorrow night's fine. We're good there. So, but thank you for doing this and help me out. But real quickly, again, before we wrap up, let people know about you and where they can find you and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to chat with you folks. If you are a Twitter user, I'm DASME on Twitter, DASME. I run the podcast network called Rez.tv, REZD.tv, because I'm Canadian. You check out all the shows we do there. I don't do them all. There's a lot of other people that are releasing content on the network. So a lot of great stuff there. And if you like Nintendo Pulse is my weekly Nintendo news show. And Crossing Animals is a show that was originally supposed to be an interview show, kind of like this one, I guess, where I was gonna interview the animals. So that was the whole idea behind it. And I have done one interview, and it's just turned into a normal show just because of just the crazy support from the community. So there's a lot of great stuff to talk about over on Crossing Animals.
Good stuff. You can follow me Instagram, Twitter, and obviously on Twitch at Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.